My family treats me like a doormat. Now, they are planning a cruise without me and assuming I'd stay behind to babysit their kids. They expected me to watch the kids while they had a good time, even though I, 25F, was not invited to the family cruise. Reddit, hello? Usually, I just read posts and marvel how families can be so cruel to one another. As it happens, I just received a story from my own family that is worth sharing. I need some perspective since for the past week, this has been weighing heavily on my chest. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm a 25-year-old single software developer for a big tech business in Seattle, and it seems like I've been made the family doormat. I got what most people would call a dream job 3 years ago after graduating from college. I've been advancing my career consistently, my work is rewarding and difficult, and my team respects me. However, in my family, I'm simply the one who can be counted on, the person who others turn to when they need assistance, particularly with childcare. Please understand that I adore my nieces and nephews. I've always been available for last-minute babysitting, crises, or any time someone needs a helping hand. Perhaps I erred by being overly approachable and eager to assist. The backstory is as follows. After 40 years of teaching, my 65-year-old Aunt Jean is retiring. She is essentially the matriarch of our family, keeping everyone in touch. She keeps track of all the birthdays, plans every holiday meal, and even sends care packages to the younger cousins when they attend college. She is what keeps us all together. She was the one who gave me care packages filled with my favorite snacks and handwritten encouraging letters during finals week when I was in college. She even assisted me in getting ready for my very first job interview. Her retirement is obviously a huge event, and I was thrilled to join in the celebration, or was, until I learned that I would not be participating. Everything began last week. I had just completed a particularly difficult project at work that involved coordinating a crucial system update and staying late to fulfill deadlines. Despite my fatigue, I continued to have dinner with my family once a week. Since I moved into my own apartment, these dinners have become a ritual, and even when I'm really busy with work, I hardly ever miss one. I brought Mom's favorite bottle of wine when I got to my folks' place. It was an ordinary evening, my sister Rachel, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, looking through her phone, my dad half watching a sporting event on TV, and my mom, 55 degrees Fahrenheit, worrying about what to make. Her 2-year-old was on the floor playing with blocks and would sometimes call out to everyone who passed. We were discussing a variety of topics, including Rachel's toddler's most recent developmental milestone, my most recent professional endeavor, and the customary family rumors. I then asked jokingly if anyone had any suggestions for Aunt Jean's retirement present. I had been considering getting her a unique present, perhaps organizing a collective present with the family. At that moment, Rachel said, "Oh, we're giving her a group gift on the cruise," without even raising her head from her phone. I stopped in the middle of my sentence. What kind of cruise? At first, I believed I had misheard her. I would be aware of any scheduled family vacation, wouldn't I? I mean, I attend every birthday party, holiday celebration, and family get-together. I chuckled uneasily and inquired about her topic. She raised her head, obviously perplexed that I was perplexed. "We've been organizing the cruise for months, you know." As if I were somehow to blame for not knowing about something that no one had thought to tell me, Rachel added, "All the adults in the family are going." I asked my mother for an explanation. When she realizes she's done something wrong but doesn't want to acknowledge it, she gives me this uneasy smile. She clarified. "It's a cruise to celebrate your aunt's retirement, with a few days spent in Hawaii." I had the impression that I was in a strange prank show at the time. I was in the dark about this elaborate excursion, while everyone else was aware of it. Suddenly, the space felt too warm and cramped. My heart was pounding as I struggled to comprehend what was going on. My mother gave me a tense little laugh when I inquired why I hadn't been informed, and then she said, "Well, we thought you'd be more help staying back." "Remaining behind? What can you help with?" I asked, attempting to speak steadily. I had the ideal opportunity to jump in as if it were the most apparent thing in the world when my cousin Madison, 30 degrees Fahrenheit, entered the room with her twins. "The children. It just made sense for you to stay and watch them since you get along so well with them." Let me explain. Madison and Rachel have 4 children under the age of 4. Madison's twins, who are just over a year old, and Rachel's 3 and 2-year-old children. They had somehow determined that I would be more than happy to stay behind and monitor them all without even consulting me. I forgot about my dinner and just stared at them in shock. "So you organized this entire trip without inviting me and just thought I'd be fine staying home to watch the kids?" Rachel finally put her phone down and shrugged. "Yes, indeed. You don't have children or anything that might bind you, and you're always so dependable. It simply made sense." Made sense to whom? I looked at my mother as I inquired, hoping for an explanation that wouldn't make me seem like a total afterthought. "We didn't mean to leave you out, honey," she added, smiling weakly at me. "We simply assumed you would comprehend. You have always been the one in charge." The word responsible was like a kick to the face. I've heard that a lot throughout my life, including when I stayed home to assist with family gatherings rather than going out with friends, when I rearranged my college schedule to accommodate Rachel's firstborn, and when I utilized my vacation time to support Madison following her challenging twin pregnancy. When someone needs assistance, I've always been the one to step up. Yes, I have assisted with school pickups, kept the kids during crises, and even filled in for Rachel when she had work-related issues. Rachel had a late meeting last month, so I took a half day off work to pick up her children from daycare. After the twins began to crawl, I spent 3 weekends the previous month assisting Madison with organizing her home. However, this was really different. They made decisions for me as if my time, my desires, and my life didn't matter. They didn't even have the grace to ask. My mother attempted to patch things up by promising to bring me a memento, as if that would somehow make up for my exclusion. She promised to purchase you a lovely souvenir from Hawaii, as though it would make up for being treated like the family's unpaid babysitter. Meanwhile, Rachel pretended that I was exaggerating. "You wouldn't really like the cruise anyhow. I take it that you don't like big crowds? Do you recall how uneasy you felt at Cousin Katie's wedding?" Pardon me, as I spoke, I could feel my annoyance building. They were now determining what I would and wouldn't like. I was recuperating from the flu when that wedding took place 5 years ago. However, it seems that one incident had turned into a justification for them to keep me out of family gatherings. I sat there attempting to take it all in. This was intentional, not merely an oversight. They all know that I don't use Facebook, so I wasn't a part of the private Facebook group where they had been organizing this for months. They could have called, texted, or even casually brought it up at any of the numerous family get-togethers we've had, but they chose not to. My mother attempted to sidestep my comments about how painful it was to be left out. "We had no intention of upsetting you. It was simply useful, sensible for them." Soon after, I departed because I was too upset to continue the conversation. It was a blur on the way home. Recollections of all the times I had sacrificed everything for them, put their needs ahead of my own, and dropped everything to aid them kept coming back to me, making it difficult for me to concentrate on the road. However, as the days went by, the rage evolved into something more profound. It was more than just the journey. It has to do with how my family perceives me. I don't have any wants, goals, or desires of my own. Simply said, I'm the reliable one, the helper, and the person they can rely on to make sacrifices when it suits them. I've mentally rehearsed the exchange numerous times. I recalled spending the entire night with Rachel during the colic episode of her first child. How I assisted Madison in her quest for strollers and car seats that are suitable for twins. How I've never missed a child's birthday celebration or school function. As I gave it more attention, I came to the conclusion that this wasn't an isolated incident. They have always treated me in this manner. I didn't even realize how frequently my family took advantage of me because I was so ready to support and assist them. But I'm done this time. I'm not sure how I'll deal with this in the future, but I'm definitely not going to stay behind to watch the kids. Not now. Reddit, what are your thoughts? Have you ever found yourself in a comparable circumstance? I'll keep you informed as events develop. First update. Hello everyone. I appreciate all of your encouraging remarks in my earlier post. In the last few days, a lot has transpired, and I must disclose how things have gotten out of hand. I made the decision to make one final attempt to get on the trip after reading your remarks. In the hopes that we could arrange something, I texted my sister Rachel to inquire about going on the trip. "Sorry, the cruise is sold out," was her irate reply. "We made our reservation months ago, and adding individuals now is not possible." I informed her that I would be prepared to reserve my own cabin independently, even if it meant traveling to Hawaii on my own to meet them there or staying on a different deck. Even though I was still upset over being left out, I was making a sincere effort to be understanding. What did she say? "Well, you would have to arrange childcare first if you did come. Everything has already been planned, presuming you will monitor the children." It dawned on me then that they never intended to include me. The explanation about daycare was simply that, an excuse. They had already determined that I would always be the babysitter in this household. I therefore made a choice. I had previously asked for time off for what they believed to be babysitting responsibilities. I choose to take the time off for myself rather than cancel it. A coworker recommended this lovely mountain cabin rental, which I found. It's quiet, remote, has hiking trails, and a hot tub with a view of a valley. I made the reservation right away, packed my things, and departed without informing anyone of my destination. Everything I needed was in the cabin. Just the sound of nature and complete solitude. No Wi-Fi, no cell service until in an emergency. Naturally, my phone was overflowing with texts the morning of their cruise departure before I finally shut it off. Mom. In an hour, we're heading out. When are we able to drop off the children? Rachel. Hey, we're taking the car seats to your apartment. Be prepared. Are you ignoring us? Asked Madison. We have to stick to our timetable, therefore this isn't humorous. Mom. Please answer your phone, honey, she said once again. Everyone is waiting. Then the messages became more obscene. Rachel. It's unbelievable how self-centered you are. Our flight is going to be delayed. Madison. This is utterly careless. We had faith in you. I raised you better than this, said Mom. The finest aspect? I had never really received confirmation from them that I would be watching the children. They simply believed that since I've always done it, I would. I'm currently sitting in this serene cottage and taking in the mountain sunset. I feel free for the first time in years, no obligations, no expectations, no last-minute crises to deal with. However, I am aware that this calm is fleeting. I haven't turned on my phone yet, and I can only picture the drama that will be there when I do. I feel bad for finally standing up for myself and upsetting the family dynamic, not for the children, whose care is ultimately the parents' duty. One commenter on my previous piece wrote, "They're not angry because you said no. And it's still on my mind." That struck close to home. They're upset because they can no longer control you. Am I mistaken for prioritizing myself at last? At the very least, should I have informed them that I wouldn't be available? It felt like the only way to let them know I'm serious after years of being taken for granted, even though I realize it wasn't the most mature thing to do. For the next week, I'll be at the cabin. I suppose I'll have to deal with whatever happens after that. Reddit, I appreciate you letting me vent. After I return and have addressed the fallout, I will provide another update. Second update. Hello, Reddit? It took me a while to take in everything that had transpired since my last update. I'm in dire need of some outside insight because things have become worse. Do you recall that quiet cabin I told you about? Those 7 days changed my life. I read books I had been intending to read for years in the afternoons, hiked misty trails in the mornings, and soaked in the hot tub under the stars at night. I felt what it was like to not be at someone's mercy for the first time in my adult life. I found myself thinking back on my relationship with my family while I was there. Rachel needed assistance moving houses last December, so I had to postpone a big certification exam that would have furthered my profession. That weekend, she said, no one else could help her. My siblings gave me plain gift cards, saying they were too busy to shop properly, while I used my entire Christmas bonus the month before to buy presents for all the kids. Madison argued that she had no one else to care for the twins, so I was unable to attend my closest friend's bachelorette party earlier last year. The pattern remained constant. Their demands came first, then mine. But when I got home, the real drama began. Do you recall how I shut down my phone? I had hundreds of voicemails, more than 100 text messages, and 47 missed calls waiting for me. It included everything from threats to guilt tripping. Do you realize we could have called the police for child abandonment? Was the most memorable message from my cousin Madison. They were meant to be your responsibility. What I was reading was unbelievable. You never agreed to watch children, so how can you leave them? I wanted to handle this ridiculous threat, so I contacted her back right away. When she answered, I exclaimed, "You can't be serious. If someone refuses to accept a responsibility, you cannot report them for it." She gave a frightening reaction. "You were the reason we had to postpone our entire trip. Are you aware of the amount of money we lost? You were meant to be with the children. Assumed to be? By whom?" I retorted. "I was never asked. You all made the decision for me." She continued talking about my responsibilities to my family and how I had failed them. She then revealed yet another shocking revelation. "I've already spoken with my legal pal. What you did can be regarded as careless." I lost it at that point. "Your lawyer buddy needs to advise you that before accusing someone of ignoring a duty, you must obtain their real consent. I have no formal authority to make medical choices for your children, and my apartment isn't even child-proofed. Have you considered that?" She ended the call. Then Rachel's flurry of messages arrived. It seems that she was so stressed that she was only able to enjoy half of the cruise and had to leave her children with a neighbor. She wrote, "You've ruined Aunt Jean's retirement celebration completely. You chose to be selfish, which affected everyone's trip. All of this came at an especially difficult time because, just last month, None of my family members were available to drive me home from a minor medical procedure. Madison was preoccupied with her daily schedule, and Rachel had an important hair appointment. In the end, I had to pay for a ride-sharing service. Although more subdued, my mother's strategy was just as deceptive. Presumably assuming I couldn't avoid her at work, she called me. Her voice was brimming with disappointment as she started, "Your sister had to cut her trip short. Madison's non-refundable reservations cost them hundreds of dollars. Do you truly want to be this person?" I inhaled deeply before answering. "Mom, is this more about what you all want me to be or about what I want to be?" "What is the intended meaning of that?" she inquired. "It indicates that I'm sick of being used as the family's unpaid babysitter. None of you even take into consideration the fact that I have my own life, work, and aspirations." She emphasized, "We are family. Families support one another. Mom, help is something that is freely given. You're referring to obligation here. In addition, when was the last time I received assistance from any member of this family?" The ensuing stillness was telling. The intriguing part, though, is that my sister chose to make this public. On Facebook, she has been making ambiguous and hostile status updates about toxic family members and others who don't respect family values. The irony is that our extended family members are making comments like, "Some people forget where they came from," and "blood is thicker than water." I was initially turned away from the family cruise by these same individuals. My cousin even went so far as to email me a detailed list of all the fees they incurred due to my selfish behavior, including additional daycare charges, travel changes, and cruise tickets. She is requesting that I pay them back because, presumably, their careless planning has made me financially liable. A friend of mine who is a legal, not simply a buddy who knows a lawyer, burst out laughing when I showed her these messages. She asserted, "They cannot force you to pay for plans you never accepted. None of this operates that way." I've learned a valuable lesson from the entire situation. This goes beyond childcare or a vacation. It involves years of abusing my kindness and using my time and effort as a resource to which they are legally entitled. I've always had some emergency that needed my attention whenever I've attempted to plan for myself. Rachel had joined a book club, so last spring when I wanted to take a photography class, I ended up spending those evenings watching the kids. This summer, Madison needed assistance with the twins when her husband was gone on business, so I had to postpone our planned weekend getaway with friends. To help me deal with all of this, I've started going to a therapist. She noted that my family's response, the threats, the humiliation in front of others, and the financial demands, are all indications that someone they're used to controlling is losing control. Aunt Jean has been the sole bright point in all of this. I was moved to tears by her remarks when she called me yesterday. "I had no idea they excluded you like this. I would have stopped it right away if I had known. Family isn't meant to be like this." However, even her encouragement cannot make up for the hurt I feel when I realize how my family truly views me. I'm their safety net, their backup plan, and their free babysitting service, not their sister, daughter, or cousin. Going forward, I know I must establish clear boundaries, but I'm having trouble figuring out what those boundaries should entail. There's a part of me that wants to stop communicating altogether, at least temporarily. Even thinking about that makes another area feel bad. Reddit, what are your thoughts? With family members that don't even grasp the idea of boundaries, how can you set them? Have any of you had a similar situation? Third update. This will be my last update on the situation. Reddit. In light of the trip and the turmoil that followed, I've had to make some tough but essential choices regarding my relationship with my family going forward. These last few weeks have been life-changing. Now that I'm not always on call for family problems, my professional life has dramatically transformed. I am now in charge of a significant project. Last week, my manager even took me aside and remarked, "You seem like a completely different person. Your energy and focus have significantly increased." Until they were gone, I was unaware of how much my family responsibilities were impeding my career. I finally had the chat I had been dreading last night. I gave my mother a call. Since I still adore her in spite of everything, I knew she would be the most difficult to deal with. However, love is insufficient to excuse their treatment of me. Her voice was instantly eager as she responded. "I'm so happy you phoned, honey. Let's move on from this, shall we? I want to stop fighting now." I said in a firm voice, "Mom, this isn't a fight. This is my way of telling you that I need a lot of space." "What is meant by that?" Her voice changed from one of hope to one of worry. "It implies that I can't continue in this manner. I can't be a part of a family that doesn't respect me, even though I love you. Whenever I attempt to defend myself, I encounter manipulation, accusations, and guilt tripping." A few weeks ago, I would have been devastated when she began to cry. So what? Are you simply going to leave me? From your sister? From everybody? Yes, if that's what it takes to keep my peace. From there, the discussion took a turn for the worse. She employed all of her strategies, including money manipulation. Remember who helped with your first apartment deposit? Guilt about the children. They ask about their aunt every day. And even bringing up dad's health. This stress isn't good for his heart. The most painful part was when she mentioned my early years. She said, I gave up everything for you. To raise you, I put my career on hold. I didn't miss the irony of her exploiting her own decisions to blame me for mine. But I held my ground for the first time. I clarified that although I would continue to send birthday cards to the children, I would require total separation from the family's adults for the foreseeable future. What is the foreseeable future duration? She insisted. For however long it takes for me to recover and for everyone to realize that I'm more than just the family's babysitter. She ended the call. Instead of feeling sad as I had anticipated, I felt lighter. I adopted a more straightforward strategy with my sister and cousin. I disabled their social media profiles and phone numbers. I went through all of the family group conversations on my phone and unsubscribed. In addition to unfollowing them on social media, I modified my email filters so that their messages are sent to a different folder that I may review whenever I'm ready. There has been a noticeable shift in my day-to-day existence. I used to be so worried about missing an emergency call from my sister or cousin that I would continuously check my phone. My phone isn't tied to incessant demands from my family anymore. It's just a phone. I've begun taking back my weekends. I joined a local hiking club last Saturday to tackle a strenuous trail that I've always wanted to experience. I spent 6 hours going to a stunning top with like-minded individuals rather than watching my nieces and nephews. Next weekend, we intend to go hiking again. The class I mentioned on photography? Everything is going remarkably well. I have a natural eye for composition, according to my instructor, and I'm already organizing a picture show with several of my classmates for the spring of next year. When I was at everyone's mercy, I would never have had the chance to take advantage of these kinds of possibilities. Additionally, I've resumed dating, which was previously nearly difficult. It's incredible how much more appealing you seem to possible partners when you don't have to keep postponing arrangements to deal with family crises. Aunt Jean is the only person I continue to communicate with. She confirmed everything I've been feeling when she contacted me this morning. She added that she had experienced a similar situation with her own sister years prior, which helped me feel less alone in this choice. Walking away from people who don't value you, even if they are family, is sometimes the strongest thing you can do. I've learned from my therapist that this is about taking back my identity, not just about establishing boundaries. I've spent so much time being the family helper, the responsible one, and the dependable one. Now, I'm free to discover who I am without those titles. Yes, there are times when I miss them, like when I walk past my niece's favorite park or see something that would make them laugh. The cruise situation, however, comes to mind, as they were prepared to deny me a family celebration while still requiring me to give up my time for their convenience. Before, I never felt comfortable starting a 5-year plan for myself. I'm considering working part-time while pursuing my master's degree. My manager is very supportive of the tuition reimbursement program offered by my company. In addition, I'm saving for that springtime vacation to Europe by myself, which would not have been feasible when I was continuously devoting my time and resources to family responsibilities. My mental health has changed in the most unexpected way. I no longer experience the same level of continual anxiousness. I eat healthier, sleep better, and have even begun working out on a regular basis. You have an incredible amount of energy when you're not always running other people's lives. In response to inquiries in my previous post, I can confirm that I am still employed and have accepted a team lead position on a new project. My coworkers have seen how I've changed. You smile more now, one of them remarked. I was unaware of how obvious my attention had been to other people. Cutting off my family in this way may seem harsh to some of you. Perhaps I am. However, this seems to be the only option after years of being neglected, having my needs and wants disregarded, and being treated more like a service than a human being. I have no idea what the future will bring. They might realize why I had to do this at some point. They might not. However, I'm prioritizing myself for the first time in my adult life, and it feels good. I appreciate all of your help along the way, Reddit. Your feedback and personal stories gave me the courage to make this choice. I'm ready to conclude this chapter and concentrate on creating my own novel, so this will be my final update. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.